So, those two guys actually faked it. I'm in this picture. And I'm not going to tell them any different. But in reality, I'm not this old, but I'm pretty old. This was 1974. I actually look like a lot of you guys look right now. But July 10th, 1974. So, I mean, look at that hair. Whoa, I'd love to have that back. So, I'm going to talk about some people that have influenced my career and that have taken care of me throughout my career, people that made a difference in my life. So, I got to give a shout out to my family, my wife and daughter, my son and his wife, and my two grandchildren. And they've supported me and my passion for the fire department, my kids for their whole lives, my grandkids for their whole lives. My wife, in October, will be married 50 years. So, hey, she's married to a saint, what can I say? Anyway, when those guys called me, I started thinking about it. I was a little hesitant. And I always talk about being a champ or a chump. So it was kind of a time for me to step up or get out of the game. So you guys have to make split-second decisions on an ever-changing environment and stick by it, okay? It's not easy. It's not for everybody. But you gotta make that decision, you gotta act on it, you gotta stick with it. That decision you make now, 10 seconds from now, it might not be a good decision, but you got to do it. So, you have to be willing to be a champ or a chump. Example I use, I worked at Truck 3 for the last 9 years of my career. Guys had a fire. I was on vacation for a couple of shifts. I came back. Guy said, hey, we had a fire. Too bad you weren't here. Ha, ha, ha. Well, let's go out and check it out. So we go out and check it out. It's a single-story, single-family dwelling. Bedroom fire on the D side of construction. Next door was a two-story Victorian, and the B side of the Victorian was pretty singed. And I went over and looked at it. It was like, man, maybe 30 or 45 seconds this thing was going to light up. Went back to the station, went to the guy that was on the nozzle, Bob Leonard, hell of a fireman. I said, Bob, what were you thinking? He goes, I know what you're thinking. He goes, you were thinking that, what about the explosion? He said, I knew that I could get down the hallway and put that fire out from the interior and save both buildings. So he was willing to be a champ or a chump. So you have to be willing to do that. Well, if you're a champ or a chump because you're trying to do the right thing, that's one thing. If you're a chump because you did something stupid, that's another. I'm a chump. You got a call, it was a sprinkler activation, smell of smoke on the third story, senior citizens home, 5:30 in the afternoon. What am I thinking? I'm thinking pot on the stove. Mrs. Smith walked away, activated the sprinklers. We're going to be there for 4 hours cleaning it up. So we get there, engine goes up to the third floor. I tell two of my guys, shut the sprinkler down on the third story. So they go shut it off. Go up to the third story. They're waiting for the manager. I said, come on, man, we got to get in here. So we forced the door. So kitchen, living room, hallway, bedroom. There's a body in the hallway, and the bed's just starting to light up. What happened? The woman was on oxygen. She lit a cigarette. She lit herself up. She took off running, made it about 8 feet, dropped whatever burning object she had, set the bed on fire. The sprinklers put it out. Well, some chump came along and shut down the sprinkler system. Never should have done that. Moral of the story is, don't shut the sprinkler system down until you know why it's activated. And don't make yourself a higher priority than Mrs. Smith. I did that night. I was wrong. And I'm admitting that because I don't think we do very well about admitting our mistakes in the fire service. I went to a lot of critiques that it was like, was I at that fire? Doesn't sound like the fire I was at. So, we have to learn to admit our mistakes, and hopefully other people will learn from them. So I was a chump that night. Too bad, my fault. So one of the best things that ever happened to me is I got shipped over to Battalion 1 in San Jose, downtown battalion. I just got promoted to engineer and going to Engine 1. So I go down there, go in the kitchen, introduce myself. Those guys didn't care who I was. So go talk to the captain, go out and start checking my rig. And these guys started messing with me from the minute I got in there, and it never let up. And I just knew that, if I couldn't play that game, I better get out of there as quickly as I can. But being the sicko that I am, I ended up staying in Battalion 1 for 12 years. So mostly working Truck 1, Engine 1, and Engine 8. So Engine 8 is a single piece company. Covers part of the east side, part of the downtown. Busy company, lots of fun. So I was in Engine 8, and the oncoming captain comes in one day and he goes, "Hey Barry, I got to take off early in the morning. I got to catch a plane, and your captain can't come in early. So if I clear with the chief, you jump the seat." "Yeah, I can do that." So he says, "Can you be here at 5:30? I'll be here at 5:30. Well, they got a call about 4:30. Back about 5:05, he took off. Still had 3 guys there, but he took off. I get there about 5:15. I don't know where he went. I no sooner get my stuff on the rig than we get a ring down for a structure fire, San Jose State dormitory. So we're responding out there, and the way it was set up, as we were coming down the street, we were seeing, in those days it was the backside. We didn't have A, B, C, or D in those days. So it was the backside of the dormitory. So we're going to make a right turn, and we're going to go around the front. Well, I look up, and there's like 20 people hanging out all the windows on the 3rd floor. There's only 3 stories. So we stop, call second alarm, ask for a truck on the back side of the building, direct all other units to come to the front side. So we just basically threw ladders, and we got 20 people out of there. The other companies went to the other side and put the fire out. So the interesting thing is that captain was a layover in Texas, and he was watching the national news. Back then there was no CNN, and he sees early morning fire in the dormitory at San Jose State. He's like, "Oh boy, I'm in trouble." So he has to find a phone booth because we didn't have cell phones. He calls me up. I go, "Yeah, I made it. You're okay." I couldn't do any wrong with that guy for like 5 years. So he was lucky I showed up early. We had another fire. I was driving Engine 1, and it was a furniture refinishing place, and it was empty. It's across the street from what is now the Shark Tank. So we get the call. You can see it from the station. It really looked nice. So we dropped the 5-inch going in. I park on the other side of the median, so I got two lanes plus the median. I'm parked. I got another lane open. So I get out of the rig, and I wasn't ready for it. Man, it was hot. So I'm like trying to hide, I run to the back. The firefighter's up on the deck gun and he's screaming for water, and he's trying to cover up. And so I break down the 5-inch, come around, grab my turnout coat, make the connection, and get water. So when we got the fire pretty well out, me and the captain are sitting there looking at the rig. This captain was this big, he was a stud, man. He was a Vietnam vet, really, really good fireman. We're looking at the rig, all the lights are fried, there's no decals left, all the paint's blistered. "Hey Eric, what do you think of the spot?" We could have got a little closer. But um, in Battalion 1, we had some pretty good jokers, and I'm sure all you guys know those jokers. But at Engine 8, we had Johnny Martinez, aka Johnny Gas. I'm sure you guys can figure out why Johnny Gas. So Johnny decided he was going to dress up the station a little bit. So we had a little patch of lawn on the side of the station. So he went down and he bought about 8 of these pink flamingos. I don't know if you guys have ever seen them. They stand about this tall, and they're about this big. Well, he painted them white and put black spots on them, and now they were Dalmingos. So Station 8 had Dalmingos for about 5 days until the locals decided they wanted them more than we did. There was also a guy at Station 8, Randy Perez. Randy Perez was a clean freak. He had a car collection that was worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. And unfortunately, Randy got killed last year working on one of his cars. And if you want to go on YouTube, punch in San Jose firefighter Randy Perez car collector. And he does a thing about being a firefighter in San Jose and his cars. It's really cool. But anyway, Randy was a clean freak, so the guys would break into his locker and get some ice and paint it black and throw it in there. And, you know, Station 8 was right by a creek, so we had all kinds of critters. And he'd come in and he'd open his locker. I don't understand how those mice get in here. I'm tired of this crap. And, you know, he'd clear out his locker and just about fumigate it. I don't think he ever figured out what was going on. But it was pretty funny. We had a good time with Randy, but it's too bad that we lost. So I'm going to show you this later on. So there was a group of cartoon characters called the Garbage Pail Kids, and they were cars. You guys know about the Garbage Pail Kids? Well, there was a Cranky Frankie. There's a Cranky Frankie. So I got the name Cranky Frankie, and I don't really understand why, because I was such a happy guy. My wife says I'm snarly, but I looked it up in the dictionary and it's not in there, so I can't be snarly. But anyway, I wasn't the most approachable guy. There was a lot of people that didn't care to try to talk to me, but my crew didn't have a problem with that. So I was ready to retire. You know, I loved the job and all that, but it was just time for me to go. So I made the decision to retire, but I had to wait 8 months for a new retirement package to kick in, and it was worth it. But anyway, one day I'm in the captain's office, and I was kind of dogging it. You know, I was kind of slowing down. So one day I'm in the captain's office and I'm doing whatever captains do. And all the guys come in and they sit down, and I'm going, oh, this is kind of good. And all they said was, hey, you're retiring, we're not. I go, I get it. So we got back in the game, and those guys made sure that I wasn't going to rob them of what they were still trying to do. And I was lucky that they did. One thing I want to stress here is, you know, you guys be open to change. I'm not happy with all the changes that came down while I was working. I mean, the 2 in, 2 out doesn't make me all warm and fuzzy. I just, you know, and I really like Rick Teams. I really think it's great, but I'm really unhappy about how fast they want to assign a Rick team before they assign guys to go in and do what we're supposed to be doing. So that really bothers me. But there are other changes that came down the pipe that I thought that I now realize that was stupid. Hoods. You want me to wear a hood? How am I going to know when we're in too deep and it's too hot? No, you're going to wear a hood. All right? You're going to take my bottle out of the cab? It's going to take me 40 seconds longer to put that pack on. That's not right. You know? Rehab? You want me to go out in the street and take my turnout coat off and, you know, get my blood pressure taken? We used to go out in the middle of the street and have a cigarette. That was rehab. I can't wear turnouts in the station? That's crazy. I don't understand that. And now that I'm where I'm at in life, I realized that all of those things were for us. Because I will tell you this, there's not a lot of guys, but a number of guys who I worked with, not guys that worked in another station or that came before me, that are dying of cancer. And they're dying slow, miserable deaths. So all of those things were for us. So be open to change, you guys. Have a part in it. Okay? It's going to make you better. It's going to make the fire service better. For about 9 or 10 years, I wrote memo after memo after memo. And I wanted us to have all 100-foot area trucks. No water, no hose, no, trucks. So I wrote memo after memo after memo. The only time I got a ride on a tiller was the night of my retirement dinner. Truck 1 finally got a tiller. They came over and picked me up, took me for a ride around the downtown and dropped me off. That was my only time I got to ride. Well, about 3 years after I retired, the assistant chief called me up and said, "Hey Barry, we're going to buy 8 new trucks. I want your input." Well, now San Jose has all 100-foot tiller aerials, no water, no pumps, trucks. So you guys don't sit around the firehouse and bitch. Have a solution, have input. Sometimes it's not going to pay off right away. Sometimes it's not going to pay off at all. But don't just sit there and bitch. Have some input into it. Change is good. It's going to make the fire service better. It's going to make you guys better. So, I don't know if you guys have ever had that gut feeling that maybe this is not a good place to be. I was on truck 1 and we were working a commercial structure fire, and it was a warehouse, and we had 2 truck companies on the roof. There was 8 guys up there, and we're working, and all of a sudden my captain goes, "Everybody off the roof now." And he wasn't real hardcore, and I wanted to give him some grief, but I knew, no, we're going. The last guy hit the ladder and the roof collapsed. And I asked him a couple times, I said, "Vinny, what was it?" He goes, I just had a bad feeling that we were in a bad place. Don't know why. A few years ago, there was a roof collapse in Southern California. 4 guys went through the roof, and JJ and I do building construction class, and we talk about this collapse. Well, one of the kids in the class in Fresno came up to me at break, and he says, "Hey Barry, one of those guys is my dad." He goes, "He doesn't really talk about it, but if you want to talk to him." I said, "Do I want to talk to him?" "Hell yeah, I want to talk to him." So he cleared it with Dad, and I called Dad up, and we had a pretty long conversation. One of the things he said that really struck with me is he said the engine captain that was inside, he heard a pop, and all of a sudden he said, "There's something wrong, we got to get out of here." So they hightailed it out of the building, and they got out just as the roof came down. Well, the roof came down like a slide. It didn't just drop. So those guys didn't just drop. They kind of rode the roof down. Well, 2 things happened because of that guy's gut feeling. They got out, plus they knew where those truckers were, so they got those guys out pretty quickly. Those guys sustained some injuries, but they all ended up back to work, and none of them got seriously injured, and none of them got killed. So that gut feeling paid off. So anyway, we had a structure fire. It was an 800 square foot house. And, it was going pretty good. Nothing to write home about, but a couple things happened at this fire. First of all, the funny part is the engine pulled past the building. We stopped a little short, and the engine captain jumps out of the rig, and I can see he's making a beeline for me. I get out of the rig, he comes over, he doesn't even look me in the eye, he puts his hand on my shoulder, he goes, "Barry, I know you don't like to do this, but can I have one of your guys demand a 2.5 in the front of the building? How can I turn them down?" I go, "Yeah, go ahead, Davey." So anyway, we fought this fire, we got it pretty well knocked down. And I had this gut feeling to cut a door on the CD corner of the building because we had no egress over there. It would have made it easier for overhaul. It made sense. I didn't do it. Well, I walked out, I sat down on the bumper of the truck, and I'm looking at the building, and all of a sudden I see a blue flash, and the whole building just goes boom. So we had a gas leak underneath, and found an ignition source, and it blew up. So when it blew up, all the floors came up. It was just chaos. Well, the unfortunate thing is we had 2 guys in the building from Engine 30. So had I cut that door, they were in the CD corner of the building. It would have been a lot quicker to get in there to get them out, and they would have gone through a lot less pain while we got them out. So I had that gut feeling. I really didn't follow it. This was where it started on the gas valve. That's the 2.5. If you notice, the building's all kind of squared and it's not all cattywampus. Well, after it exploded, it's all cattywampus. You got a bunch of debris that came from inside the building. So now we know we got 2 guys trapped in there. That's the engine captain, Dave Jimenez, great guy. But there's a little bit of chaos there because we got to get in there and get those guys out. So that's where we packaged them up. We had 2 guys hurt, senior firefighters. Kenny Hernandez was probably the most senior guy in the department. Here's another one. Kenny retired shortly after that, not from that, and he died about a year later from cancer. So there was a lot of bad stuff that got to us. I hope you guys are healthier, and I think the fire service and you guys are working on that, so that's good. So how much did I love working on Truck 3? I worked in a lot of really good houses with a lot of really good crews, but Truck 3 was the best, by far. So while I was at Truck 3, we had a report of the structure fire. It was middle of winter, California cold. So get the call at 3 o'clock in the morning, structure fire, multiple calls, 4 people trapped. Opening up the bay doors, doorbells ringing. Well, it turned out to be a kid that was living in the house. All he had on was his boxers, no shoes, no socks, and he ran from the house to the station. And we talked to him afterwards, and man, his feet were hurting. He was hurting. That poor guy on that cold asphalt, he was hurting. So anyway, we responded to this thing. We could see it from the station. We're coming in on the D side of the building, and we see this really, really big guy standing in the window on the 2nd floor surrounded by smoke. So my engineer, who we called Psycho, "Hey Barry, you see that guy?" I see him. "Hey Barry, you see that guy?" I see him 4 times. "Hey Barry, I got it." So we pull up, we start to grab ladders, we're gonna go get this guy out of the window. Well, as we're going around to the D side, I see a leg hanging out the window on the A side. So I tell my firefighter, Steve Foreman, I go, "Stevie, get that guy." That's all I said to him. Didn't tell him how, didn't tell him what tools, get him. That's all I had to say. He got him. I really don't know how he got him. So we had 2 ladders back there. This guy was big, and all of these guys were drunk. He didn't want to come out. We finally got him to sit on the windowsill. He straddled Psycho's face, his legs over his shoulders, the old firefighter survival thing, and we got him out of there. So it worked. Anyway, it was pretty chaotic. The engine crew pulled 2 guys out of the downstairs. We pulled those 2 guys out of the upstairs and 2 more. So we started our search from that window, and I split us up 2 and 2. I had 1 guy working with truck 1 on the roof. So we did the search. We all met up in the very back bedroom, which was right by that deck there. So we got to that back bedroom just when they opened the hole up. And if anybody says vertical ventilation doesn't work, I'm going to argue with them, because you can see all of us go from down on our bellies just up. And there was a guy like 4 feet away from me, and there was another guy over in the corner. So we pulled those guys out. So we pulled 6 guys out of the building that night. That's where we started our search. We went through a lot of fires, and big defensive fires, ladder pipe, all that crap. But the thing that we were practicing for every day and the thing that we were drilling for every day is right there. 6 guys, 6 people we pulled out of it. That was the one we were practicing for. And I think that if that wasn't Truck 3A and Engine 3A and Battalion 1A, Kevin Conan, that fire wouldn't have gone like it did. Because on that shift in that station, we had a bunch of really dedicated firefighters who worked really hard, who drilled every day and paid attention to detail. And it made a difference on that fire. That's what all of it was about. And I was really proud of all of us that night. So when they opened up that hole, it made a huge difference. So I was surrounded by really kick-ass firefighters. But I will tell you this, I learned very early as a captain that you pay a price for those guys. They don't get you in a lot of trouble, but they will test you every day, and they will bust your chops constantly. So, I mean, if you think having a guy named Psycho isn't an issue, I've got another guest coming. So Psycho, he was an interesting guy. He met this girl. So he wanted to bring her over to the firehouse for dinner. Bring her over. So she comes over to the firehouse, and we're all sitting there talking. Psycho this, Psycho that, we're calling Psycho. She's getting this weird look on her face, and she goes, "Steve, why do they call you Psycho?" I said, "You know, like they call guys with no hair curly and fat guys skinny. That's why they call me Psycho." Oh man, unbelievable. This guy, back when we could wear turnouts in the firehouse, every once in a while he would sleep in the TV room, full turnouts, boots, pants, coat, no helmet, thank God. Had all the windows open in the middle of winter. It was freezing cold. Well, you had to go through the TV room to get to the kitchen, and there was a lot of times when I'd be the first guy up, so I'd go down and I'd open up the door to the TV room, and the stench, I almost hit my knees. It was like, that boy has some serious stomach issues. And he'd be sound asleep, sleeping like a baby, didn't even phase it on. One of the mechanics gave him a mechanic's cap, so it's a ball cap, but it's got no bill on it. So he decided he was going to start wearing that. Well, then he found these big round rim glasses. So he thought, well, I'm going to start wearing these on EMS calls. I didn't say anything, you got to pick your fights, right? So he did it for a while. So finally we went on this EMS call. This woman, we're working on this woman, and all of a sudden she starts laughing. "What's that?" She goes, "I know I don't feel as bad as that guy looks." And that was it. I mean, after that, he didn't wear it anymore. I guess he got the attention he wanted. But I will say, I would walk through hell with that guy. He was probably the best fireman I ever worked with. He bailed me out of a lot of situations, and I loved having him working with me. So he eventually made captain. And about a year ago, we went to a badge pinning ceremony. One of my guys got promoted to captain, and another one, Steve Foreman, that pulled that guy out of the window, got promoted to BC, so that was kind of cool. But here's Steve, Psycho. After we had a few drinks, hasn't changed a bit. So really, really good fireman. I loved working with that guy. I had an issue with historical landmarks in San Jose. We got about 20 buildings from the water department, and the chief gave me a map, and there was like 5 of them that were circled in red, because these are historical landmarks and they're going to move them, so don't cut these out. Well, we went over and we're cutting them up. We could do anything we wanted to, we couldn't burn them. So we had a lot of really good drills. So we were there for maybe 3 shifts, and the chief calls me up one night and goes, "I need to see you." All right, load up, boys, going to station 1. So I go in the chief's office, he goes, "You cut a historical landmark." Oh boy. So he shows me his map. I go, "Wait a minute, chief." So I go out to the rig, I had the map in the rig. Well, his map didn't match my map, and he gave me the map. So he looks at it and he goes, "I'm done talking to you." So I left, but they moved that house to the convention center parking lot, And we had to look at it for years. I mean, it had probably 10 holes in the roof. So it got to be a big joke about Franchi and the historical landmarks. So anyway, one person that had a big effect on me and the way I did things was Tom Brennan. And I know all you guys know who Tom Brennan was. If you don't, ask the guy sitting next to you, because I guarantee you he does. So Tom Brennan used to say, I don't want to do one thing, I want to do 7 things all at once when I get there. And I truly believe that, you know. As a truck officer, there were so many things that I wanted to do, you know. We're going to force the door, we're going to ventilate, we're going to search, we're going to get window box, we're going to get utilities. There's so many things to do, I wanted to do them all. I was kind of lucky because I had a 5-person crew, so I could split and still be an officer, but there were a lot of things that had to be done. He also said, make the building behave. And I kind of thought that was the truck company's responsibility. So I always kind of kept that in my mind, as it's our job to make the building behave. What I wanted to do with Truck 3 is I wanted to make sure that when Truck 3 showed up, everybody was happy. Truck 3's here, we're good. So that was my goal, and I think most of the time we made that happen. So that was kind of cool. I wish Tom Brennan could have helped me with my cooking. I'm a lousy cook. I hate cooking, I hate shopping, but I had to take my turn. We had 9 guys and everybody had to take their turns. So I got this recipe, it was chicken. Take the chicken, you throw it in the pan, pour orange juice all over it, put some herbs and spices, you throw it in the oven. Well, the boys lovingly dubbed that backstroke chicken. So the other thing that I did was I barbecued chicken. So when you're cooking for 9 guys, the grill's full. So we had a propane barbecue at Station 3, about half the burn. So I'd be out there in the back, and I'm pissed. I'm swearing, the 4-letter words are flying, the barbecue tools are flying, so they lovingly dubbed that Tourette's chicken. So, you know, it was always interesting when I was cooking. One thing I want to throw out there, you guys, is keep yourselves in good shape for 2 reasons. It's going to allow you to do the job better, and it's going to allow you to enjoy your retirement. I know a lot of guys that didn't keep themselves in shape. They're all busted up now. They're overweight. They got heart problems. They got all kinds of problems. They're not enjoying their retirement. So do yourselves a favor and stay in shape. Work hard at it. Very, very important. And you know, if you're the company officer and you're laying on the couch, what do you think the rest of the crew's going to want to do? So it's up to you to get out there and do it, and hopefully they'll follow. We had this fire in San Jose called the Marty. We called it the Marty Fire. Marty Honish was the engineer on Engine 1, and he parked the rig too close to this unreinforced masonry building. And I wasn't on Truck 3 at this time. I was on USAR 16. And there must have been 5 or 6 of us that said, Marty, you got to move that rig. It's in a bad spot, man. Well, he was as hard-headed as most of us are, and he didn't move the rig. So this wall collapses on him, it takes out the rig, it buries him underneath the rig, underneath the bricks. His foot was up behind his shoulder. He was off. He was on light duty for about a year. And I still talk to Marty. You watch this and you'll see the chief with an interview and watch the wall collapse behind him. These guys took part too close too. Watch this. So the wall came down and got him. And like I said, I talked to Marty quite a bit. And I was telling him I was coming up here, and he goes, make sure you tell those guys to pay attention on the fire ground. Don't get yourself in a bad situation like that. He went through so many surgeries and so much pain and agony. And like he said, he goes, hey man, I'm 60-something years old. You think it's getting better? It ain't getting better. It's only getting worse. So this injury affected him the rest of his life. So keep your eyes and ears open on the fire ground, everybody. Pay attention. Don't let this happen to you. So a year after I graduated, a year after I retired, we got a call from Strathcona County, Canada. JJ's, yeah, Canada, whatever, yeah, hey. So we went up there to do this training, and they told us we're going to have a memorial march and a ceremony, and so bring your dress blues. We went up there, and the chief filled us in on it, and he says, Barry, I want you to ring the bell. I was blown away. I don't know why, but it was an honor. So we're up there, and we did the march, and we're doing the ceremony. They had a real nice memorial there. And so I'm getting ready to ring the bell. I don't know if it was me or if it was for real, but I didn't hear anything. There was no cars, there was no birds, there was no planes, it was dead silence. And it was like deafening but appropriate. So we're standing there in this dead silence. And when I went to ring the bell, the baby started crying. And I almost lost it. And at that moment, it made me realize how much anguish, how many people go through when we lose one of our own. And it really got me. And this really brought it home for me. So I wish we could stop it, but at least we have good memorials, and pretty sad. But anyway, so it was customary when people retired that all of the battalion companies would come over to the station, and we'd have coffee and cake, and good luck, Franchi. I'll see you later. So I was big into working out back then, so I always had shorts and a shirt with the cut-off sleeves, and I had kind of a mullet. So these were the boys. We got sound on this. So these are the boys from Engine 8. So I'm in the kitchen and we're talking, and all of a sudden everybody starts laughing. So this next picture I show in some of the classes that I do, and I tell guys, I go, this was you the day you found out you got hired by the fire department. This was the day you became a firefighter. So this is a picture of my grandson. He's 3 years old at the time. And this is it, man. He's got ice cream all over his face, and the world is a beautiful place, and nothing's wrong. And I tell guys, that's exactly the way you guys felt. And I started looking at his picture, and I looked at that. So if you think I didn't have a good time, check that out. 34 years, and I hope you guys have as much fun as I did. And thank you guys for letting me hang out with you. You guys are the best of the best. I love you guys.